Good morning. Steadying the ship yesterday with some good calls. And again, bit of self-belief would have got you that late Atletico Madrid winner. I gave you the template. Let's have a look into that. Green screens to come. Start off with a lay the draw. Second half, Millwall and Sheffield Wednesday. Well, surprise, it was only 1-0. Goodness me. This is quite clearly a reaction from the Owls to conceding an absolute shed load, particularly in a Steel City derby at the weekend. Millwall have also suffered recently as well. So what I recommended you do, lay the draw, as we did there. That's my usual liability. And give yourself an out. Okay? Particularly if you're dealing with the Championship, League 1 and League 2. Have yourself a liability control. Now, I'm not sure if I can show you this here because it will be negated now. But if you do have Fairbot, you can, as you can see this profit here. I recommend getting out a third of liability as loss if you really want to control your liabilities. Okay. In that case, having laid the draw at half time, you've got until it gets to a £13 loss if you're using £40. 1.74. So that's a good use of the grid. The ladder. I don't use the ladder at all. It's probably good for horse racing trading, I would suspect. But I just haven't got my head around it. And I don't see it as any use for football trading. But for horse racing trading, definitely the ladder. And for finding your exit point as well. But Millwall get the goal just before that 1.74 was hit. So delighted with that. I decided to stay in. Yes, you could negate your liability, which is always recommended. I decided to stay in, take the full whack. Probably smarting from Man City's no-show yesterday. Olympiacos, Real Madrid. Are you watching Liverpool? This is how it's done. Let's get to that. It's a simple lay Olympiacos leading. Really decent odds. Back Real Madrid, who just have that wonderful record in the Champions League. Superb stuff. Really enjoyed that one. Straight out by half time with a pretty much 100% return. The only niggle would have been if Olympiacos had parked the Acropolis in front of goal, as Greeks tend to do, but absolutely rock solid from Real Madrid. And you'll see no trades in the Liverpool match. I've learnt my lesson. Neutral would have probably yielded a solid result, wouldn't it? Over 3.5 goals at 1-0. If you could have got onto that, that covers both teams. Arne Slot's for the chop. He's been found out quite clearly, out of his depth. Ridiculous signings. Putting on Federico Chiesa late on. Yeah, that's exactly the player you need to score you a shed load of goals late on. Federico Chiesa. I'm just gobsmacked with the ridiculous decision making of the mighty one. I was umming and ahhing about a 2-3-3-2, but I didn't see any value in that either. Liverpool, they're still not letting Liverpool go, the bookies, are they? 1.2 favourite, 3-2 at 6.8. Are they watching a different Liverpool than the rest of us? Because that's just absolutely bonkers. Copenhagen and Kairat Almaty. This was just in case. We got Kairat Almaty parking the bus. But needs must for Copenhagen. And they did make sure. But laying over 0.5 goals, you can see the attraction if you choose the right match. The liability is low. If we can get to half time, we could even engineer ourselves an actual free bet for the second half. So it's very appealing with such a low liability. It's exactly the same, of course, as backing 0-0. Other standout calls yesterday. Well, I know you won't believe me, but this is a Midlands derby and I was umming and ahhing. You know how good Birmingham are at the moment. Derby-style match kept me from passing it on to you, but why on earth didn't I? They're up here, Brum. Top 10. Can put together a good winning sequence. West Brom was definitely, for me, layable late on. What a pity we captured that late goal. I didn't pass it on to you. Hard luck story. Get your old violins out. Oh, man. Paphos and Monaco. What on earth is going on with Monaco? Or indeed, kudos to Paphos. Another one laying over 0.5 goals at the start of the match. That quickly fell foul with a real goal fest. Very unlike Paphos, that one. But they are not to be underestimated or misunderestimated if you're a US president. Arsenal and Atletico Madrid, the ones I gave a mention to you for the possibility of laying the draw. Arsenal got involved late on, but this is what you will see of a Diego Simeone side at home. Spot of bother. 65th minute, swear at the ref, get a yellow card, bring on the subs, Antoine Griezmann and Sorloth. Not too shabby, old Antoine Griezmann, is he? And boom, 93rd minute, Jimenez, winner. Ably assisted by one of the substitutes, Antoine Griezmann. You tend to see the winner coming in Atletico Madrid home matches from or related to the substitutions he brings on. Normally, I would say 65th minute or thereabouts. It tends to be a Diego Simeone go-to job. I really hope you laid the late draw. I gave it a good mention, but I didn't follow it up on Telegram at the time. So I really, really hope you got onto that one. The 2-1-1s, the Arsenal and this Atletico Madrid, eminently gettable. Arsenal were just looking excellent yesterday throughout the stats. Absolutely superb. And the last play I'm ruining not getting involved in because I was waiting till half time and I keep getting caught with my pants down, waiting for half time to look at it. Give ourselves 15 minutes to look into this. And Vitinha, obviously not on Telegram, wasn't listening. That was an angle in. This was what I call a Chuckle Brothers match. It's to me, to you, to me, to you, to me. 2-2, gettable again. So there was plenty of potential there yesterday. I'm happy to come out of it with quite a decent gain. The only other loss I made was in laying over 0.5 goals in the Atalanta match with Eintracht Frankfurt. I was chatting to you on the 60-minute mark. By the time I finished chatting to you, we've got 2 goals in the bag. Boom, boom. Lookman and Edison. Eintracht Frankfurt, one of those sides who can score a shed load and concede a shed load. Really good result this for Atalanta. Probably on the cards if you're looking at their win away at Marseille. And as you know, ask a Geordie, Marseille at home are a tough nut to crack. So there was plenty of profit there. I didn't wait. I would have waited a lot later. I laid over 0.5 goals, cost me a tenner. And I was trying to lay the draw as late as possible in the hope that this match would be akin to the last time these two have played. Eintracht Frankfurt and Napoli, for example, 0-0. And Marseille-Atalanta, I've alluded to, 0-1. So I was hoping for a bit more of that from Eintracht Frankfurt against another SerieA side. And on this occasion with home advantage. But no, capitulation, 60th minute. But coming out of it with a really decent gain yesterday. Delighted with that. Today's trading angles. Well, I'm not going to be providing members of FootballTradingProfits.com any research or any XG at all. You can't do XG in these kind of competitions, particularly the way I do it, which will be predominantly league XG. You can't superimpose that to this competition. It's just doesn't make sense. A side can be emphatic. For example, Paphos could be scoring shed loads in the Cypriot League, but then find themselves not able to score too many in the top flight Champions League, for example. But let's have a look at where we can perhaps target some matches today. It's going to be a really busy coupon, but let's show you any of the highlighted matches. So your old showbiz pal, Soccer24, will be your friend today. And we've got some AFC Champions League matches already beginning. They have been pretty good for trading, particularly an odds-on favourite at home, particularly if they're Saudi Arabian. Ratchaburi, where the giraffes are. Beautiful, beautiful part of Thailand. Absolutely stunning. Highly recommend it if you go to Thailand, Ratchaburi. Beautiful. You could stay in the countryside in the hills. But enough of my Thailand tourist video. That's going to be a good match for Ratchaburi later on. Europa League phase. Let's just have a look at the standings at the moment. That might give us an initial clue as to who needs what to get into the group stage. Sorry, get out of the league phase. So it's top 24, just like the Champions League. So just pay attention. You saw a Benfica win the other day when they were down here in the bottom two. Nice, Rangers, in all sorts of bother. But 3 points will suddenly zoom you up here. Another 3 points will zoom you up here. So it's not forlorn, particularly for these sides here with the points already on the board. Sturm Graz, a win, boom, top 15. So Rangers and Nice in all sorts of bother. Maccabi Tel Aviv struggling. Malmo struggling. Utrecht struggling. Steaua Bucharest, Ludogorets, Feyenoord, that's a surprise. But Stuttgart, Panathinaikos got the win. Aston Villa loss. So they've been, this just shows the level of the Eredivisie, due deference to PSV, by the way. It does show the level of the Eredivisie, the kind of teams you're likely to struggle against will be coming from the Bundesliga and other elite leagues like the Premier League. Red Bull Salzburg, just that single win coming against Go Ahead Eagles. So not the best form. Celtic all over the shop. Absolutely hopeless. This is a damning indictment of the SPL as it stands, isn't it? There's just no competition for these two domestically. And when there's no competition domestically, you're not stretched. And then when you start playing better sides in Europe, like Midtjylland, for example, you get absolutely found out. Red Star Belgrade and Sturm Graz, these are the sides who need to start breaking in to the top 24. The sides floundering a little. Bologna, that's a surprise to me. Too many draws. Not the Bologna you will see in SerieA. 2-goal heroes, consistently scoring 2 goals. Nottingham Forest, well, they don't know which manager to pick, do they? But steadying the ship, you'd hope, under Sean Dyche. 2 consecutive clean sheets. And you saw that win against Liverpool as well. He's got them scoring as well, which is very unlike Sean Dyche to be scoring shed loads of goals. So let's have a look at some of the matches. So Midtjylland and Roma. This Roma, at least in Serie A, have been scraping 1-0 wins and 1-0 defeats. Midtjylland do have that goal threat. They can be like Eintracht Frankfurt, like Leverkusen against Manchester City. They can be that surprise package when you've got such an attacking side. So that's going to be a fascinating match. I would suspect this is attack v defence. Aston Villa against the Young Boys. The Young Boys of Bern really shouldn't be landing a blow against the Villains, who are on a run, I think, in the Premier League of 5 wins in 6 matches. Well, that could be even better. 6 in 7, I'm not sure. Need to double check that. But that looks a go-to, unless Unai Emery changes the squad. Porto and Nice, we already know now that Nice are in a spot of bother, don't we? And Sporting Lisbon surprised me yesterday with the amount of goals they scored against Club Brugge, who themselves have a real goal threat. So watch out for Nice. They are in a spot of bother at the moment. Fenerbahce and Ferencvaros. Fenerbahce ex the Special Ones team. He couldn't get them into the Champions League, hence he got the sack. Probably a multi-million-pound payout for not doing his job. Feyenoord, you've seen them in a spot of bother as well. And Celtic in a spot of bother. So this becomes must-win, I think, for Feyenoord. Must-win for both of these two sides. It's going to be a competitive one. But as we've already looked at the form for Feyenoord, they seem to fall foul against elite league sides. German Bundesliga and the Premier League. The SPL is not Elite League. Sorry. Anywhere else? Well, it's tough to gauge, isn't it? That's the problem with this competition. These sides are never going to meet each other ordinarily. So they have their strengths and they have their weaknesses. But when they meet each other, which one will come right? I would not be taking the market to heart. You saw them getting Liverpool absolutely wrong. Completely and utterly wrong. Real Betis at home, at least domestically, get a tick from me. Will that follow on through? Bologna have to start winning. They are at home to Red Bull Salzburg, who do have a goal threat. Bologna, if they can rediscover their 2-goal habit of SerieA, we will be in a good position here. Stuttgart, we've seen, have been pretty solid, but Go Ahead Eagles do have a surprise in the locker as well. Ask Nottingham Forest. I think it was Notts Forest, wasn't it? So watch out. You could see both teams to score here. I would be favouring Stuttgart, who gave Dortmund a scare at the weekend, coming from 2 goals down to make it 3-3. Superb stuff. Full of goals on their day. Never misunderestimate, as George Bush would say, Genk or any Belgian Europa League side. Maccabi Tel Aviv have been in all sorts of bother as well. I think they're a little too lightweight for this particular competition. Playing an elite league or a secondary elite league for me. The elite leagues for me are the German Bundesliga, Italian Serie A, English Premier League and Spanish La Liga. French League just put on the back burner, like the Dutch Eredivisie. Not quite elite. Nottingham Forest, question mark. New manager syndrome. Malmo, we know them from Sweden. They can offer something. We will see. Panathinaikos, the Greek side. We saw Olympiakos yesterday. Duff and Rangers and Braga. This looks, at least the market's giving both teams a shout. St. Troy. Troy Pirates, AZ Alkmaar. Strong favourites against Shelbourne today. Shelbourne are likely to park the bus. So watch that. 1.14 does suggest a shed load of goals. It doesn't tend to appear that way in this competition. And a whole host of secondary leagues, secondary teams now, who really don't make any appeal on paper, do they? They're all very good for Scrabble scores, but not necessarily to trade. Rayo Vallecano having an awful time in La Liga. Mainz. Yes, the Bundesliga side against Craiova. Is that Romania? Or the Czech Republic? Romania, I would suggest. Logic suggests the German Bundesliga side favoured here. The in-play stats are going to play a massive part today. Aberdeen are hosting 600-year-old Noah, who's going to park the ark. We will see if this can be reminiscent of Fergie's days at the Dons. Fiorentina are having an awful season in Italian Serie A. Is this going to be gentle respite for them? Can they find the winning foot? Jagiellonian Białystok are playing KUPS from the Finnish Veikkausliiga, who are dominant in the Finnish Veikkausliiga. But how do they translate to this competition? AEK Larnaca, another Cypriot side who could park the bus against the Croatian Rijeka. Shamrock Rovers, I wish them all the best today. I will be cheering them on against the Ukrainian giants, Shakhtar Donetsk, who are more used to Champions League football. And Crystal Palace, a tough encounter against top 4 Strasbourg in the French League. I wonder if Crystal Palace will be fielding a changed side. XG analysis is irrelevant today. Absolutely no point me doing it because it's the XG analysis from their domestic leagues. So it doesn't translate to this competition. So do make sure you subscribe to YouTube. We've got a live stream coming on Saturday. As long as my parents don't need me, that's the caveat. I'm in Guernsey to look after my elderly parents. If they need me, they come first. Just while I'm in this island. Do subscribe so you'll be alerted to the next one. And the e-letter will be out on Saturday with all the Premier League research that you need with the XGs and more. I'm doing other leagues for you as well. Have a great day. I will see members of FootballTradingProfits.com from 5:45. Let's make it another profitable session.